What's up, Free Agent Army? It's been a while since we've had a conversation, and I know I've been gone for a minute, but in the last video I said I was back, but man, so much has been happening since the last time I made a video. I mean, my family's moving. We're going, over several states, but I mean, just a lot is going on, and I just really could. I had to stop there because dude was backing up, and I'm sitting up here in this big old Cadillac, this CTS, and this thing ain't cheap. And dude is backing up in his Dodge whatever, and I just had to make sure he wasn't about to hit my car, Dodge Nitro. No, we're not having that. That we won't be having. I've already been in one car accident a couple of months ago, and this lady tried to lie. She literally tried to lie. She told the insurance company that she hit a parked car. She didn't hit no darn parked car. I was sitting there in that car at the red light, and she gonna try to squeeze between me and the darn and the wall. And I mean, she was drunk. I mean, she was completely drunk. I mean, there's the only way, because I was doing everything I could to try to get that lady to stop and stop rolling her car, stop driving, but she wouldn't. But anyway, that's another story for another time. So. But yeah, y'all, it has been a while, and I've missed you guys. I have missed recording. I mean, so much has been going on in politics and in social media and in the church world. I mean, just so much is going on. And I've been wanting to talk about it, but I've just been too busy and just not trying to be so much into it as much as I often was. And so sometimes you have to take a step back and not just get so caught up in pop culture or what else is going on in the world, because even making the videos can be all consuming and can take away your time with family and God and all of that. Although you feel like you're doing the work of the Lord, but at the same time, this is a form of entertainment to a degree. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, I dropped some truth bombs. I will always drop truth bombs, because at the end of the day, this is what this is about. I am going to tell you the truth about what's happening, what's going on, and how it relates to the Bible and end times. And we are definitely in some end times right about now, because right now, the movies and shows that are happening, that are out there, that are going on, that are being shown to your kids, to the young people nowadays, it is absolutely amazing. And I'm really floored and flabbergasted at how believers are not even paying attention to what's happening. And if they are, they're sort of burying themselves in the sand. So burying their heads in the sand. And I tell people all the time, do not get your information from CNN and even Fox, but look at more independent resources, because then you may get a more balanced plate of information, I guess you can say. And so you'll be able to eat off of all of that and then make an informed decision. Because if you're just going with CNN, or if you're just going with Fox News, it's going to be twisted and it's going to be slanted a certain way. But anyway, so what I wanted to talk to you was about this new show called Pose. If you haven't seen it, just to give you a background on Pose. Pose is almost like reliving or reviving an old movie, old documentary, Paris is Burning. If you don't know anything about Paris is Burning, it documented the lives of gay men and women in New York back in the early 80s, and it documented the gay ball scene. And at the time when I watched it, when I was in that life, it pulled on a lot of strings, and it touched on a lot of things. Emotionally, it pulled me in, and it was really good. I mean, apart from the subject matter, it was just a really well thought out and laid out and edited documentary. So for that, I give it props. It was a very good film. And so now what's going on now is that there's this new show called Pose. So Pose is pretty much not necessarily a spinoff, but it certainly does take a lot from what Paris is Burning talked about. So it's really centered around the gay ballroom scene, and particularly homosexual, black and brown homosexuals and transsexuals. But more so, this one is, but the experiences that transsexuals deal with, and those who live that lifestyle, who are in the ballroom scene, basically giving you a deep cover shot of what it's like to be black, Latino, gay, trans in New York during the 80s. And basically that's what it's about. Now, and it goes into all the harsh realities that they deal with, because they do deal with harsh realities, be it rejection by family, hard to find jobs, housing, the AIDS, HIV crisis, and all of that. So it deals with a lot of that, the rejection and trying to fit into regular society. It deals with all of that. So with that being said, but it also shows you point blank. I mean, there's some stuff in there that I've been like, wow, I cannot believe that this stuff is really on television nowadays. And you know what? David Wilkerson talked about this back in the day. He sure did. David Wilkerson prophesied this. I remember he prophesied this. He said it's going to be like almost like pornography on regular cable television. He sure did. And let me tell you, they are pushing this whole agenda of transsexualism and regular men being in relationships nowadays. And so it's almost like making it seem like the transsexual is just as normal as a regular biological female. And that any man that lays down with her, there's nothing wrong with that. Excuse me, lays down with him, that there's nothing wrong with that. As though he's laying down with an actual biological female. And we know that's not the case. So, I mean, these movies, these shows coming out nowadays, they are pushing an agenda, and you had better be careful. They are pushing an agenda. But these are the last days, like David Wilkerson prophesied, and it's time to wake up. It's really time to wake up. If you're still reeling about what Kanye said, if you're still reeling about the kneeling, some darn football players taking knees and all that kind of stuff, if those are the things that are getting you upset and all of that, then as a believer, your focus is off. Your focus is really off, because those are just little sidebars to what's really going on. Because what's really going on is a spiritual thing. And the spiritual thing is this whole notion that God did not define men this way and women one way. And so now man's way is to try to blend the two and to get rid of what God has created as sacred as man and as woman, and the two becoming one. And so now they're trying to make it as this, because even in some cultures, the transsexual represents, I saw this documentary where I believe it's in India, those who live a life of transsexualism, which is really big over there in India, they represent both the god and the goddesses, and they are used a lot of times as mediums to consult other spirits or other gods, because they embody both male and female to a sense. So in that way, they're revered and almost like a protected class in a sense. So you have to really see what's going on in the spirit. This stuff is real. And if you don't know now, you need to find out and get to know. Because what's happening now, and if we're not paying attention and we're not protecting our children, because if nothing else, they are going after your kids. If you haven't heard about the drag queen story hour at these libraries and all these new cartoons that are pushing the homosexual agenda, and there's even a new cartoon coming out with drag queens, and all this stuff is geared towards children. So you had better pay attention. Your children and the future is at stake when it comes to this. And this is all in love. And so for me, it's like, for those who struggle with that, those who are dealing with feeling like they're the opposite sex, born in the wrong body, and their mind is not matching up and all that, my heart goes out to those people, because I know that is something very hard to struggle. Just looking at your body can really throw you off mentally. So with that being said, our heart needs to have more compassion for those who are dealing with that, and not hand them over to Satan to the sense that letting them live that life. Because if we have it in us to be able to help them, then we need to do so and offer them the salvation of Jesus Christ and walk people through the transformation into what God has called them to be, and not what they quote unquote feel. Because the world is going to tell them, well, go with your feelings, and this is the way God made you, and this is the way, and God is wrong. This assignment that was given to me at birth is incorrect. The doctor made a false assignment. Just all this crazy nonsense. But anyway, all right, so this is James with I'm Free Project. Share this stuff. Let's talk about it. I'm going to come back while I have some time here with some more stories and some more things to tell you. But yeah, pay attention. There's a new show going on right now, and it's called Pose. And as a matter of fact, this just took me back to what David Wilkerson said. I mean, this show Pose while it shows the realities of it, it also, they actually had to show the man laying down with a transsexual in the bed. And I was like, wow. And so I was like, I actually had just turned it, because I'm like, this is just way too much. But it just goes back to show you that, you know what? David Wilkerson was right on point. This stuff is going to be like pornography on television, on regular cable television. So when you saw back in the day 2 women having a little small kiss, now they're showing 2 men starting to kiss. And the transition period of that is using transsexuals that's actually a boy dressed up like a girl, and so using them as a way to, as a transition to then start showing 2 men kissing in a romantic sense on television. All right, this is James from the I'm Free Project. Remember, Jesus Christ is Lord. Peace out.